vast numbers of Muslims actually believe that martyrs go to paradise, and that it's a central teaching within Islam that the best thing that can possibly happen to you is to die in defense of the faith. Now, you can quibble about what constitutes an appropriate moment of defending the faith and who you should be fighting against and when, and all of that is a legitimate thing to quibble about theologically, and hopefully Muslims will do that. But the problem is that this leaves you in a position where, when you look at groups like Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, it is not absolutely clear from the point of view of the Quran and the Hadith where they are going wrong. I mean, they're living out a very plausible version of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. And if they were Jains or Quakers, it would be obvious where they were going wrong. They would have their religion entirely wrong. And that is a difference that we must confront in the same way we must confront the peculiarities of the Catholic Church at this moment, which are leading to a pedophile scandal unlike none other. And
gentlemen, I'd like to get to some of our listeners' comments, and then maybe we can hear from them and get reactions from you again. Liz is calling from Walnut. Liz, thank you for your call.
Thank you. I'm going to take a totally different philosophy here. I heard from another news channel that there was a Methodist church that requested a building permit to rebuild their church and has been denied within a 2-block area of the Ground Zero. I don't believe that any religious group should be able to put their building within that sacred area. I think it should be a secular area. I also believe that the laws should be metered out equally. So if one faith cannot rebuild, then no faith should be able to rebuild within the same area. I mean, it just seems fair. And building permits can be denied for many, many reasons. It doesn't have to be because they believe that the city is being biased or partisan. I think that everybody should be treated equally, and if the Muslim temple can be built, mosque can be built, then so should the Methodists. And if the Methodists can't, then neither can the mosque. That's
I just want to emphasize
very quickly
that the Methodist Church is being built on an area that has been zoned for reconstruction by the Ground Zero Association. That's why. Whereas the Burlington Coat Factory 2 blocks away is not. So this is not about promoting one religion against another. It's that there are zones that have been blocked out for that cannot be rebuilt, that are being built by the New York City Municipal Council.
All right, on that point, let's go to Jack's point about what it is the people in New York can and cannot do. Jack, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My point is, everybody should stay out of it except the people who live in New York. They should have the vote, and the rest of us should not. And give you a reason. I was looking at a news station last night. They had a clergy from, I think it was Seattle, talking to a minister of the Muslim faith. And this clergy of the Christian faith actually told this Muslim guy, I shouldn't have to be forced. Allah is not my God. Now, I'm not religious at all, but I know Allah is an ancient Aramaic word which the Jews use, and it means the Most High.
Well, Jack, we're talking about the rights right now of the people in New York to make these zoning decisions, and on that point, James is calling in Hollywood, and then I'm going to let everyone hear a moment from Mayor Bloomberg, too. So, James, what do you think?
Well, I do think it is in bad taste, but I think things that are in bad taste, if we truly think they're of such bad taste that they should be, not allowed, then we have a process for that. It's called obscenity. It's community standards. They can go through the courts if people feel that this is an obscenity through that. Or
I think obscenity would already have covered the fact that, as Reza Aslan pointed out, there are 2 strip clubs in virtually the same area, too. Here's what Mayor Bloomberg had to say about his attitude toward this.
9/11 did leave a permanent hole in our hearts in this city, but it did, I think, make us believe more strongly than ever in what this country stands for. We came together as a city back then, and we united as a country, and we took great pride back then in our freedoms, and our men and women in uniform have fought and died to defend them. And if we shout down a mosque and community center because it is 2 blocks away from the site where freedom was attacked, I think it would be a sad day for America.
Another voice about New York, this one coming from Ted Olson, the former Bush Solicitor General, whose wife was on one of the planes, the one that crashed into the Pentagon, who said that he thinks that President Obama is right, that there is a perfect constitutional right to build here. But on the Pat Morrison page, Miho says he's a former New Yorker who lost someone he knew on 9/11. He considers this not to be about taste, but about a psychological attack on those who lost their families and New Yorkers in general. Why would you choose a site that's so close to Ground Zero? There are lots of other spaces to build this center. Reza Aslan, what about Miho's point?
Well, the Cordoba Initiative and Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf has been in Lower Manhattan, about 10 blocks away from what we call Ground Zero, for 30 years. There's already, as you said, Pat, another mosque, a small mosque, 4 blocks from Ground Zero. So I guess my question to that person is, how many blocks is enough? At what point are we going to say, well, okay, well, that's enough to deal with the sensitivities, 5 blocks or 10 blocks? It's again hard for me to sort of imagine that this is just about these issues of sensitivities when, again, the same people who are protesting the building of this community center are protesting the building of mosques all around the country.
Let me ask Sam Harris about how this, you're talking about how this might be perceived by some radical extremists in the Muslim world. Why would they see this as a gesture of spinelessness rather than a gesture of openness? Do they not make a distinction between themselves and moderate Islam?
Oh, well, they do. I'm not saying for a moment that Osama bin Laden or any acknowledged jihadist would view these supporters of this mosque as good Muslims, because they are, I think, almost entirely Sufis, and Sufism is, while we may want to celebrate it as a very moderate tendency within Islam, is actually considered a heresy more or less throughout the Muslim world, and Sufis suffer mightily because of it. And they've had their mosques recently blown up in Pakistan. As have other moderates like the Ahmadis in Pakistan. So I think it's not that it's a straightforward victory for the forces of jihad, but you have to see from the point of view of people who really think they are fighting for a worldwide caliphate and are willing to die for the privilege of trying, that all of our concessions to Muslim sensitivities and grievances and preferences are looked at in a certain way. So are the cartoon controversy and all the self-censorship we practice in that regard, the fact that not a single publication apart from Free Inquiry showed those cartoons in the United States, and Free Inquiry was taken off the newsstands of major bookstores. I mean, the recent Comedy Central censorship of South Park, all of this is viewed as spinelessness from the point of view of our enemies, and we have genuine enemies in the Muslim world, and that's not a good thing.